Everyone. I am Dr. Xiling, a faculty member at the College of Education at East Carolina University. So first of all, I apologize if you have received multiple invitations from me. It seems that every time I invited an email in Teams, it automatically sent the invitation to everyone again and again. So sorry about that, and thank you for bearing my passion of pushing you to join this webinar. Okay, so back to the topic. I would like to thank you very much for joining our webinar, Juggling Responsibilities, Navigating Work-Family Balance as a Female International Faculty, sponsored by the COE Diversity Committee. And this is a very important topic, as studies show that international female faculty, well, that's us, significantly enhance diversity, foster cross-cultural collaborations, and bring fresh perspectives to universities. However, we also face unique challenges such as work-life balance and or parenthood experiences. Therefore, finding solutions and support is key for our well-being. And today, we are very glad to invite Dr. Qi Sun to share this important topic with us. And Dr. Qi Sun is an associate professor and program coordinator of the Adult and Continuing Education program at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Her research interest focuses on adult learning, transformative learning, and adult development within the international context. She also examines Confucian and Eastern philosophies on education, teaching, learning, and well-being from cross-cultural and non-Western perspectives, international and comparative adult education, as well as lifelong learning and learning societies. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Sun. And Dr. Sun's presentation will be recorded. So lastly, for today's webinar, we would also like to hear thoughts from our audience about any challenges that you have encountered during your academic career, whether as a female international faculty, a female faculty member, or a faculty member in general. So I have been talking a lot, so let's get started. And Dr. Sun, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lin, for your kind introduction. And I'm so glad to be here. And also really an honor to share my learning, my experience, also my observation, being an Asian, being a Chinese immigrant to the United States and work in the academia. I definitely know juggling responsibility is very challenging. We are dealing with it on a daily basis. And also, I think it's important for us to acknowledge our value as well as understand our challenges, knowing what we need to do to make change, and what are some of the choices that we can make in order to overcome them to be continuously successful in the United States academia. Okay, so let's go into, oops. Is that clicking this one? Okay, here we go. So I just want to explain a little bit. I use this as an outline to as a thread for us to talk through. So, you know, understanding challenges and also especially from the theoretical underpinnings, and also understanding what are some of the changes, why we have to change, and choices. So, so to help us to move further. So talking about the challenges, understanding challenges is very important. Why do we have these challenges? Especially, you know, knowing that we are international faculty members, and many of you probably very successful in your own country, your own culture, or many of you have been, you know, as a student as a sojourner to the West, either here or some other countries, and come here and landed here as academic on US campuses. So self-identify ourselves, who we are, what environment we're interacting with, help us to understand some of the challenges, and also the roles, the responsibilities, and also think about typical, you know, expectations, because those are things sometimes you think is all there, but unless you consciously sort it out, you may not really know what would be the best strategy for the changes, and also what are the available choices you want to make, because it seems they're all there. So prioritize, understanding deeply, reflect on that is very helpful. But first of all, I think, let's see. So first, think about, now you're living and working in a new cultural environment. And when I say new, it doesn't mean, some people may be here for 20 years. They may not new. However, it's not their host. It's not their native culture. It's not their original culture. They still feel something new every day. They still feel something that they have to encounter to adjust. But first, I want for us to think the importance of being international faculties, women faculty, or immigrant academics in American campuses. So we understand, we came here with all kinds of dreams, right? Either, thinking this is a great opportunity, academic freedom, state of arts, research facilities, career and children, and family. So all these factors actually being researched as a primary factors attracting, us as this international faculty population. And according to Theobald in 2013, it's about 10 years. So now statistic can be even bigger. Since the 90s, almost a quarter of higher education faculty identified as foreign-born. So what does it mean? We are a special group of faculty that are important, making significant contribution to American academia. So the institutions know that, because that's why they spend money, energy, and resources, because they want us to stay here. They want us to feel a sense of belonging. They want us to contribute even more, right? Because having immigrant faculty in American academia are disreputable, especially when they think about our overall productivity levels, scholarship, and the enrichment of the academy with the diverse perspectives. Think about what we can bring them to their students, to their research, to their campus, to their community, right? So diversity, inclusion, a moral strategic imperatives in contemporary, education, especially higher education. So we are the population where the group constitutes a significant source of diverse representation. So they want us. However, it doesn't mean, everything's good for us, especially when you dive into your life, dive into your work. There are all kinds of tiny little but important must-do kinds of things that trouble you, give you headache and make you stressful. So we want to think about some of the things why we have this kind of challenges. So I want for us to first have a little bit of a theoretical underpinning, and there could be multiple other theories can explain, but I'm going to, for this particular purpose, I'm going to use Berry's acculturation model theory, which provide 4 categories, how people acculturate to a new host culture, and the responding strategies of the host culture. So acculturation, this theory broadly refers to the changes that take place as a result of a contact with the culturally dissimilar people, groups, social influences, according to Gibson, 2001. And it is both processes and outcome. So think about sometimes, okay, I already acculturated. No, you're not. This is all is a lifelong, because even as that, we still grow as adults. So we continuously grow and develop and, adjust, but also contribute to the environment in which we are interact with. Okay, so here's assimilation, integration, separation, and marginalization. And I'm going to, see the, I want to use this a little, not ideal, but still give you an idea, thinking about the assimilation, integration, separation, and marginalization when we talk about adjust to a culture that is not your own, your original one. So we want to look at this a little further. So value and maintain native, that means your own culture. Here's the value, the host, and maintain a host culture. So that's the four categories through the two dimensions, so one dimension, another dimension. So you can see here assimilation occurs when individuals adopt cultural norms of dominant host culture. So meaning when you come here, you just emerge, you embrace everything, you say yes, and you say your own culture probably no. And this really is the model for the early immigrant from, especially from European countries, because they have easy access to higher education and work, and for various kinds of reasons. And also the integration, on the other hand, occurs when individuals are able to adopt the cultural norms of a dominant or host one while maintaining their own. So integration leads to synonymous with the biculture, or we call the people of more culture. And this really adapted by many later, especially since the law of the 60s, that more immigrants from other parts, especially Asian or Latin America, coming here, and they tend to integrate. But separation occurs when individuals reject the dominant in favor of preserving their own. So you can see separations here. They say no, right? Marginalization occurs when the individual rejects both. So they say no here and they say no here. So they want to maintain, and if the situation or the institution facilitate that becomes really the marginalized. You feel like you don't belong here. And this happened to many immigrants. Think about those the people that as a group, they leave their own norms, that they don't interact because for various reasons they reject to that. So this gave you an idea about this thing. And now let's think about beyond the challenges faced by us, right? The notion of change is prevalent and pervasive. So it involves much more than geographic changes. Not like we just moved here physically. There are more called social uprooting, which not only terminates our own native social position or interrupts our culture, academic, professional capital, but also focuses on the adapt new rules, identities, adapt to new cultural norms, and more so the institutions, the larger communities. As you can see, we're holistically transplanted to this one. Even we are prepared, even we learned we've been here, there's still things up, the things that are interrupted. The older identity is gone, your culture, your academic, your professional, your all these capitals that you used to have now no longer, or reduced to a very minimum, unless you have to continue to change, make the changes to improve. And of course, thinking about your degree, you earned. Of course, all these achievements so far, that's a great thing you have already. So you are doing this even subconsciously. So there's often, however, as you can see, I try to make a point. This means there's often cultural disequilibrium, meaning one occurs characterized based by our, how to say, dissonance of someone's life, causing stress, and think about your emotion, your mental strains, and even how to interact the host culture. One is very different. The interactions, your socializing, your daily life becomes disabled in many ways. So this equilibrium is comparable to Maslow's disorienting dilemma. I'm sorry. So or Jarvis called the disjuncture, that challenge individuals' perspective and pushing them to learn new ways of regaining balance in their life, right? This is, we need to think about, now we're living in and working in a new cultural environment, or a cultural environment that has a lot of challenges. So what should we do? So, using my own training, we talk about transformative learning, which means, oftentimes when we encounter something that our own belief system, habit of mind, all these things no longer work, either through whatever situation that contradict with what you know, what you believed so, what you normally so easy, smoothly doing these things, cannot work. And that experience can be painful. And that's what many of you may have experiencing now, in whatever ways, either your academic, TMP, or your family, you want to come here, nobody want to buy a house or send your kids to a daycare, and or financial, what I'm going to do, I can't do that. So all these things put you in a situation you have to rethink. You have to really think, and you worry, and that's very normal. So that experience, everyone gone through, sometimes negative, sometimes positive. Either way, there's a way for us to think differently. You can say out of box, or think differently, meaning change your prior frame of reference. So then you can see the world in a different ways, in a new ways, and take a new action. And in this case, early on, you notice if you choose integrate, then you become people of more culture. And that's, I think, over the years, I felt lost. My grad studies and also early work, feel like I'm people of no culture. And then finally, I'm starting, the transformative learning. I feel like, wow, actually, I'm people of more culture. I feel more proud. I feel like I can be the bridge, and I see that as my strengths. So thinking differently. So therefore, this is something I want for you to, if you know already, that's wonderful. If you first time to hear about this, it's going to be very inspiring. So I hope that you pay attention and thinking, do I have to use my own routine or own way of thinking or doing that, my tradition, or interact or integrate? So that will help change your habit of mind, and sometimes point of view, your belief system, your value system, the way that you believe what is right, what is wrong. Sometimes you come into this new thing. If you don't think, change the way you think, you can't make sense, can't make meaning of the situation that can cause stressful, emotional, even physical, well-being problem. Okay. So another thing I want to talk about is also, now we're working in a very high demand profession. Either your faculty, either your staff, either you're already a top tier on this very new environment. Lots of things you don't know, or you're not quite familiar. You're there, but and beyond that, there's also high demand, a lot of work. So here, another theory, my classic is theory of margin, which really look at adult learners' characteristic, their life situation. They're talking, this model really help us to understand my work, my job, and what resources I have, so how I can get this done successfully. Okay, so if you understand this, you probably can find a way to think differently, transform thinking, but also find a way to change it. For example, here's margin of life equals to power. I'm sorry, I may just change it to power and load. Okay, so the margin of life equals to power. Power means your resources, your time, your capability, your support, all that you have. And also subtract is a load. Load is your tasks, your something you don't know, you don't have time, all that. So if you have more power, of course, then you can deal with the load easily. So the margin of life become bigger, so you're not squeezed so you feel much better. So think about your load, think about your power. How do you want your life to be? Okay, so this is the changes we're facing. And also choices. Choices, I think there are many things as we, talk about. Making a choice is to seek support, um, and there are also time management. We're going to talk through this probably a little bit, so you can see each. And I know, and I leave time for us to reflect on your own things, and we can talk even more strategies. Okay, so time management. I think many of you probably know this, but oftentimes we don't consciously do this. I want you to now, if you haven't, think about, characterize your task, everyday things. So what you need to do, what you need to delegate or schedule or eliminate or delete, so to speak. So do the important, very urgent task first, right? So you have to use your own criteria. I don't know your situation or things, but you have to, if your timeline, it is very important, my job, my kids, my family, whatsoever. So you have to make that call. And also reschedule, defer, depending on your own situation that, important but not urgent. We all have important things, but you can do it 2 months later. So then don't worry about that, plan that, right? And delegate. Delegate means a lot of things you don't have to do yourself. Like family, you can train your kids, ask family members to help something. You don't have to everything to do yourself, and also your work and working with the students, working with the train them, ask them. Of course, it takes some energy to talk to, so they establish this kind of your style, so they know. But for the long run, you will save a lot of time for not important but urgent. Not important to you, but it's urgent, it has to be done. So meaning, well, someone else is capable to do, I don't have to do it because somehow it's urgent, but not that important to me. So then you can think, but it's very important to me, to you, then of course you need to do it on your own plan. And then eliminate or delete. So meaning things you can, there are lots of things come to us. I can see campus and all kinds of things. You receive emails and people and kids. There are all kinds of things. So try to diagnose this and see how important, how urgent. If it is not important, not urgent, and you don't have that time. If you do, you want to just relax, and that's okay. But if not, then just delete from your list or eliminate. Okay, so those sort of things are, quite simple, easy, and you probably know it, but I want you, all of us, to become very conscious, and you kind of move this and have your task have a deadline, importance, all that, and so you can see what I need to do now, what I can do later, or someone else to do, or I don't do it, say no. Okay, I know you may have questions. We'll go through this quickly, and then we will have our interaction section. So this is another way to look at time management. I'm sure some of you probably have seen this or know this. First review things in hand. You plan and use your principles to prioritize, or criteria to prioritize, and then perform best you can. So here, we only have, see these 3 balls, glass balls here. Jars. So you do have a big task. You have small ones. You have tiny, tiny ones. Again, similar to what we just described, this is another version or another perspective of looking at. If you only have this much time or space, we use the space here, but really meaning the time to do, 24 hours or whatever that time is, what you need to be done. you have to prioritize. If you, for example, you have the big one put in there, and then not so big, but still, bigger than others. And then finally put the little things there so you can get them all. So meaning during the day, during the week, if a lot of things you can manage, if you do this sort of things correctly, then you don't feel time so, lack of time. You can still do it and try to seek all these things and how to do it. This is about the priority, is about the, how to perform. So then you can see, something you don't spend a lot of money, a lot of time, something you have to spend a lot of time. So here's the priority you have to do and then perform. And then you can get them all there, right? So by the end of the day, if you're like, well, I've done all that, check this, make a checklist and see what needs to be done first and need much more time than others, so to speak. All right. And life is holistic. Another thing, you all talked about juggling life and work, but work is not all. Imagine life is a game in which you're juggling 5 balls. The balls are called, let's see, we'll talk about this. You have juggling, you throw them in the air, but make sure you don't, they don't fall on the ground because then there's a consequence, right? So this ball's called work, family, health, friends, integrity, or, spirituality or religion, that can be based on each individual. And also, I gave you this. So these balls are made of different materials, okay? For example, like glass, okay? A glass and rubber. I'm sorry, I'm leaving the glass, soil, and here's the plastic. So think about what kinds of materials you're going to use here for work and family, health, friends, and integrity. I'll give you a second, and I want to hear a couple of share of what materials you use for these balls, your life. A few seconds here. And whoever's ready, maybe Dr. Lin can monitors raise your hand and can share with us. Anybody?
Yeah, I can go ahead. I would say that's maybe health and family. They are glass balls, because if you fill in the ground, then it's gone.
Excellent. Yeah. Anybody different materials for those 2 balls? Anybody else? You're so shy. I
feel like family is probably rubber. And part of the reason I say that is because we often tend to think that they'll always bounce back, that they'll always be there, no matter what happens with regards to work. It's a bad way to put it, but they should be glass. But I think oftentimes we treat them as plastic, that they can bounce back and be resilient.
Oh, you're saying family, oftentimes people think it's rubber because they think they can always bounce back. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
You say family, okay. All right, anybody else? Different?
I think the work, my family, and just like soil and rubber, and my work, some like because the work time is flexible. I think it's plastic and sometimes not so so flexy. So it's some like glass and plastic, and the health just like glass. And I think my friends just like soil, and she sometimes when I feel stressful, they can like me easy and feel and give me some supportive support. So that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you for sharing. What I would say, I share mine, okay? I think for me, work is rubber. Originally, I didn't think that way, but now I think it's rubber because it always bounce back. Meaning, no matter how, like midnight, I finish one thing in the morning before I even, the new things coming up. So it's always bouncing back. Family, I will use glass because if I can hold, when I throw in the air and family is broken, or the either relationship, there are all kinds of things because glass, as you can imagine. Health, I use soil. Soil because I was thinking we're made of soil, right? So soil, the ball, and then when it goes to ground, it's all gone. So health is very important. We oftentimes do not think, we think we can live forever. We think we're very healthy until one day somebody or the doctor say, hey, your wellness check indicated that you probably have a high blood pressure or whatever. So something that can never coming back. Okay, not just broken, it's gone. Friends, I use also glass like family because also friends can be, broken the relationship if we don't nurture, we don't spend the time, and we don't often communicate, we don't share, just like family and integrity or spirituality or all that. I can either use a plastic or a glass or a soil because that means all these materials. It's just a choice, but also give us a inspiration to understand the relationship and also about our life, the life, what we have. Life is holistic. It's not about only job, only work. We have family, we have health, we have friends, we have all these others. So how to balance, how to think about what's the most important. I know myself too, and I think many of you probably think, oh, my job become a workaholic, right? That's why the word has that meaning to many people wear their hats, workaholic, as if we don't work, we don't do things, we lose our identity. We don't know who I am or who we are, right? Until we do it, I'm doctor this, I'm a program this, never really think who you really are. Your family, your health, inner self, and also your social life. For quite a while, I don't have my social life because I'm only focusing on what I need to be done. Because as an international faculty, women of color, I feel like I have to do triple efforts to not even get acknowledged, but some people they get through, but for us, we have to do much, much more. And that's really, make me thinking a lot over the years. And now I feel like life is holistic. So there are different balls, and also we all throw them in the air. If we don't take care of like family, health, friends, our spirituality, our integrity, or whatever that important to you in your life, then we are not holistically developed as a human being. The meaning of our life, we're living in this life, somehow is missing. So job is not just everything. And also this also from UNESCO, from many other educational researchers talking about learning to make, learning to be, learning to earn, learning to be happy. So, OECD's happiness index really show us, how to working to make us feel happy. And also we have to think differently. So I want for us to use this symbol to visit your thoughts about, the meaning of your life. Okay, so then you reallocate your energy and rethink the whole picture of how to balance my life and work. As you can see, work is 1, the others are 4, right? So if we only use 5 balls, so if you gave all your energy and time to work, so you are in balance, already in balance in many ways. And no wonder many people's family in crisis and kids and their health, and they don't have friends, they're very stressed, they don't have network, they don't know who to talk to, right? So I want for us to rethink about this and revision what we can do, Okay, so the purposeful driven, and I will briefly go through and then we'll leave time so then we can come back if we need to. So there's also what's your purpose of your life and work, okay? And also how can we, decrease, if not remove, distress? You're homesick, you have anxiety, you have self-doubt, you have all these things. So have you think about chat with some others and discuss, I have a network or I can do something? If you don't, then you need to support, need to seek support we can do and build alliances. So do you have a supportive network? A supportive network is refers to people in your life that help you achieve your personal, professional goals. If you have a good support network, then your mental health or well-being, that's going to be in good hand. And also, professionally, you need to have alliances. Many of you go to professional conferences, but also in your work settings. Your department, your college, outside college, especially those people are like you and have similar or have sympathy or you care, make them your friends, and educate them so you can learn from them, they can support you. And how to make your voice heard. I know for many international, especially for those from collectivist culture, according to Hofstede's culture dimension, oftentimes those people have hard time to make voice stand up to say in a meeting a lot of people because they, the culture, as we talk about, their home culture, really they're trying to internalize, they pay attention and they respect to authority, they don't want to interrupt people and by saying, hey, I think this. However, this is not the case in this culture, right? So track your accomplishment and get out of the shadow by owning your own work because you're expert in your own field. You have to proudly let people know. And, there's some special how to become confident. For example, ask questions at the meeting. Even you don't understand what this guy is talking about, ask questions, be the first one. So people then pay attention, oh, this person, even they don't know you, what, and so at least it's, oh, this person pays attention. And speak up for other people, speak up for other people. At a meeting, don't say me, me, me. Identify something other people say and build up so that people have sympathy and knowing. And after meeting, go to talk to that person and become a friend and supporter, okay? And also get your ideas, shared in a larger group, sometimes we tend to talk one-to-one and sometimes we found our ideas are stolen or somehow modified by other colleagues and become their own. And this is also happened to many international, especially, Asian people, for example, but keep it short and with no apology. And I know in our culture, we always, because the way of thinking very different, very circular rather than from point A to point B, like a linear, like Westerners. So organize your language and what you say and learn, observe and learn what you say and what not to say and when, right? And organize your thoughts. And people sometimes interrupt you, especially, if you're a women, minority and international. So prepared, be persistent and, handle the situation calmly and nicely, professionally, but don't give up, okay? So these are some of the things I think, we can talk more. So I want for us to spend some time to really reflect your challenge, changes that you think you need to make, any choices you have or do not have, and we can talk more, okay? So personal well-being, family, career, professional, I'm leaving this so you can see, and some general social, because we're holistic. Your family, you have to handle, manage everything, kids. And for those who are just in the process of doing that, there are also things. And for those who already established associate professor or tenured, then there are other things, career and further development, so to speak. But then the social life, your neighborhood, the local area, how much you know the museums, the parks, and people's kids, and the sports. Those are things Americans are very care about, and they grown up with. If you kids are not part of that, they're going to have a hard time when they grow up. So all these things are important. So I want for us now to open up to talk through, and then we can share, together. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sun. And so for now, we would like to do some interactive discussion, right?
Yep.
Okay. So would you like to share the PowerPoint, like the last PowerPoint or the PowerPoint before that, like the challenges?
Oh, okay. Let's, okay, I need to go back here.
No problem. So while Dr. Sun is showing her PowerPoint, so I would like to share some of the challenges that I encountered so for the past few years. I think as an international Asian faculty member, and then also with the different cultures and the languages. So sometimes when I talk to my colleagues or even talk to my neighbors, when they are talking about some jokes or some slangs, things like I have no idea what that means. And so at that moment, sometimes I really want to ask what do you mean or something like that. But I try to avoid like embarrassing moments. So I sometimes just smile and then just nod my head. So I just wondering like if you have ever had this kind of situation, and then what you're going to do like if you like in the same shoes.
Well, thank you. I'm probably just to pay attention. Oh, you're talking about everyone else, right? Okay, I just got this one. Are you able to see it? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, is that the slides you want?
Yes, that's
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think my challenge is the third one, fitting in general social and the cultural living environment, because like especially with the different culture, the different language and different backgrounds. So like how can I be better to get myself involved in this culture?
Excellent. Do we want to hear anybody else, or I thought that's good. Let's just open it up, and then I also can share as well. Anybody?
I'm second with she's. I think that is the most challenging part. So when we move into the new culture, new environment, how to fit in to this and understand their joke, their social norm over how they view. Sometimes it's very hard at the beginnings. You don't know how to extend the discussions or conversation, not the work. It's something outside of the work would be challenges for us, but it's not challenges for native the peoples here. So we have to work harder. So I like how you mentioned about work alcoholic, and we focus too much in our work in the first few years here because we have to establish ourselves. So when we thinking about a lot of ball, you mentioned. Is that can we do it at the same time? Oh, it's okay. We can do it at several different stages because to put ourselves in that little things, it takes stress on us. But if for example, before you get tenure, you might really focus on your job, right, to get the tenure, and that's a lot of time involvement. If you never go through, you may not know how much stress we have been encounters for that. But if we get in the tenures, and then if we still need to maintain our social interactions with the friends, families, and then understand this social cultural norm, there's been a lot to us. I don't know, this is just my opinion. So maybe, thinking about not to hush to ourselves at the first few years and have some stage. I don't know.
That's a great point. Thanks for sharing. Let's hear from others. I think also, I try to see, is it Ruby? Is that Ruby? Yeah. So Ruby talks a good point about your prioritize. For example, if you are in the middle of tenure, And you really do not want to spend a lot of time socializing, right? Because that's, we look at the slides and think about that's the big rock you want to put in the jar rather than the small things. So this is a very good point. But back to C's, I think that's for everyone. That's a very challenging daily life. How to raise your kids, even the culture is very different. How to fit in the environment where your neighbors and totally different. My experience, I think they're all research, but my experience also, I learned hard way, by the way. Experience to establish some, through your kids. If your kids in a kindergarten or whatever, if you don't have kids, at least you have a colleague and somebody that you feel care about, say a Chinese food or Korean food or some kind of a festival, local something. When you approach people, most of the time when you talk to people genuinely, they're open. It's not like, oh, but of course you have to find a good time when people are so busy, finishing a proposal or something like a grading papers by the end of semester. That's not good. But sense the situation and the environment and try to find someone just to chat and learn. When you show your willingness to learn, just like somebody else say your own language, say hi or ni hao, or in Chinese, or some simple thing, you feel like, wow, this person, you already have that connection, have that kind willingness want to interact with. Use that as a human, psychologically, and that's a very powerful tool. So then very small things and try to show, I want to learn, what does it mean? You don't have a big, like an hours or days question for this person to explain. Very simple, easy one, gradually, and develop that kind of a context. As we later said, the support system is part of that. And also just be open, using all kinds of things to check. If you don't know, ask them and show, either through food, they don't know you, make a food your neighborhood. Well, this is our holiday and this is what food. You may not like it, but I want to share, this is our things. You don't have to eat it, but if you want to, to show your willingness. I think also just open up and understanding differences. Every little town, I like United States, the good thing is almost all the cities have all kinds of groups because this is an immigrants country. A lot of festivals, a lot of things. Try to find things through kids, through schools, through your colleagues, through whatever you find it local. Try to, using the word hang up with some sort of organization or people. And even your church, local church, because those people are very kind-hearted, they want to help people. So that's another way to get into the local culture easily. So then you can understand and try to, another thing is learn. They talk about sports, nothing about baseball or football or whatsoever, but that they talk about a lot. Or books they read, or those movie stars that talk about some celebrity, you have no clue. So over time, you set a time, even 5 minutes every day before bed. Try to look at something that your colleagues have talked about. And you go back and say, hey, I heard the other day you mentioned this. I really don't understand. So you laugh, I didn't. Not that I don't want to laugh, but I don't know. Here, I saw this. Can you explain to me? Can you help me so I can be a part of that? I'm interested in that. So those kind of strategies shows that you're willing and you want to be part of that. And most of the time they'll say, oh, this. So I think that's a way, but don't feel like, oh, I don't have a common language. I stay away. I'm just leaving, segregate yourself, separate yourself. That's not going to help you. Just to face it and ask. I think that's be a lifelong learner, be a braver to know, I don't understand. What is this? Why you laugh? I'm sorry, I lost. But if it's an appropriate situation, you can say that, but or afterwards talk to these people or talk to someone you feel trust. I'm sorry, talk too much. Okay, any other?
We have questions from the audience.
Sure. Oh, let's see, where is it?
Hello. My name is Sage Friedel. I am actually ECU. I work over in the Office of Global Affairs. I am the International Student and Scholar Program Coordinator. So I work with the exchange students, and actually a few of my visiting scholars are here listening to your chat today. Made me very excited to see them. Part of my job responsibility is starting to regrow and revamp our visiting scholar program and also start connecting our international population that are not just strictly with this J1 visa. Sadly, our one event did get canceled due to rain, but we are hoping to have more events throughout our campus, and anyone on campus with international background or interest are always welcome to contact our office to see what we have or how we can connect them with other people of culture or other interests as well.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
great. I think Sage also mentioned something that reminds me of like a valuable resource that international students and scholars can use. So I think like every campus have similar resource that we should like take advantage of.
I absolutely agree with C, and also thank you, Sage, for introducing that, because that's for every, how to say, just like a student organization, that's their home, they'll get support. And for us, international faculty, this is our, we can call academic home, or not academic, but our life home, working support home, or supporter. So make a friends and learn about them, let them know who you are. So every time, you go there, hey, who I am, and, even you don't have any questions, just let them know, become visible. So they know, oh, here's Dr. Lin from whatever, department. And I'm interested in there anything, and their international week, international whatever activities, show up to show the support, be a host, because this is your international. So I think, that thing shows you're willing and also show your visibility, and you become someone that initiate the support network, building it's up a building supportive network, which is very, very important. And this can be at all levels, and this is a perfect one. I'm happy that you have somebody from this office, and you can just use all opportunities and other offices too, to let them know you exist, because oftentimes people don't know even where exist, right? So
I'm glad you mentioned International Week. We're actually going to host an international potluck Thursday, November 16th, open for anyone and everyone. On ECU, if you just search International Week, it's a whole calendar of events. So we have a lot of good students and scholars that are very excited to participate. And like you say, it's more than just meeting within your own culture. It's how can you grow within other ones and understand, even as simple as I shop at the same grocery store, or, the same thing with the food and the culture, or learning about a hidden, little Chinese market we might have here in town that someone else did not know about.
Perfect. Thank you.
that's wonderful. I just thought, food, our art, music, all these are ambassador for us to interact with our environment, our colleagues, our friends, neighbors, and to let them know you, to be understood. You have to reach out to learn from them, as well as educate them. Educate them in a positive word, meaning so they understand who you are, why the way you do things the way you do, without biases, because no one really learn until they are in a situation they don't know. So like your neighbors or your colleague, they have never encountered anything. They're not, you can't blame them not knowing your own culture or how to communicate with you. You can't do that. But also we should not be blamed by not knowing that too. Then we come here to learn. So I think understand our challenges, also understand there are things we have to change, but also during the change processes, what we need to change, how we can find choices. That's quite important. And I think you all have lots of experiences as expert, as culture capital, academic capital, and social. It just think from the other side of the fence that you are valuable and you have more than you know. The only thing is how to use it and also to further establish what you need to be more successful. Any other questions, other things you'd like to share? Anyway, just as international faculty, balancing work and family responsibilities can be really challenging. We have to acknowledge that, especially juggling multiple priorities and commitments can be overwhelming. But think about life is holistic. What is the most important? Your health. So make sure you prioritize and also know what to do. Find the strategies that work for you. And finding supportive colleagues, mentors, and setting boundaries, say no. And most, the self-care. Make sure you self-care. Manage those responsibilities, with the priority, but also with urgency. Mostly, you think about your family, there are different level of family, work, and your whole environment. Basically, there are three, but holistically. And I also see lots of cases where one works so hard and somehow neglect the family relationship, kids, education, or all that. And when they become finally very successful, still they have other things they lost, just like the ball, the glasses can never restore the way it's originally were. So.
Okay. So is there any other questions? If no more, then okay. So thank you, Dr. Sun, for such a great presentation, and thank you everyone for joining us and also sharing some of your experiences. We hope everyone had a great time discussing this important topic and has something to take away with you today. We are also interested in collecting your own stories as international female scholars, and I will be contacting you after this webinar. And finally, we will have other similar events or webinars in the future. So please feel free to keep in touch and join us. And again, thank you for coming. Please feel free to email me with any questions or ideas about this topic that you have. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, everyone. Nice meeting you. Bye.